Path, South Carolina. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Saturday to you. Just wanted to shoot the breeze with you guys for a minute, man. Blow off some steam because uh, shit has just been so real here lately. You know what I mean? In terms of all the damn drama. Um, but then, of course, there's also all of the crazy stuff happening in the news. And, before I was a, vocal proponent for the truth movement, um, I was definitely a conspiracy theorist long before I was a flurfer, right? And, and so, I've long been very much interested in the paranormal, right? And God, I feel like I'm FaceTiming you because it's just, there's one person watching live. Now there's two. Now it doesn't feel so weird. Like I would totally not change anything if it was just one of y'all there, but it does feel kind of weird when it's just me FaceTiming to one person. So now that there's three of us, it doesn't seem so weird. Anyway, um, so but I've long been into the paranormal long before I was, held to the highest possible standard of proof in any conversation, which is, of course, the flat Earth conversation, right? So, like, people like Art Bell, they'll have people on their show and they'll have a guy on their show that's like, yeah, I'm from the future. I'm a time traveler and I have evidence, but I can't show it to you until the year 2030, and I'm making this up off the top of my head, but people like Art Bell, when somebody's doing that, they're like, "Oh, really? Oh, really? No kidding." And they'll totally, totally go with the conversation, right? But when it comes to the conversation about the obvious flat and stationary nature of the Earth, now all of a sudden you have to have proof for, why the price of tea in China is often less than the price of tea in fucking India, right? Because it's like you can show someone the level nature of the waters, right? So here's a picture of and I'm not cutting pictures in, I'm just telling you. Here's a picture of this mountain that's 300 miles away or whatever, and there's no curvature over 300 miles. So isn't that amazing? And they'll be like, yeah, but satellites took a picture of the globe. So what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, there's your proof, and it's not like it's a big leap. Um, I mean, I guess it is theoretically, but we've all lived on flat and motionless Earth our whole lives. And so, if we can just be honest enough with ourselves to just revisit our beliefs, just revisit that programming that we all got when we were just little kids. Um, I remember it. I remember the first time my dad sat me down and told me the Earth was a globe, and I remember being incredulous. But then I also remember being talked out of my incredulity very quickly because it doesn't take much, to convince a gullible little kid some shit, some crazy off the wall shit. And I'm not saying that my dad was lying to me, right? Because, you have to be willfully misleading someone to lie to them, right? So what I'm saying is my dad totally believed it. But point being, long before I was into this lovely position of like losing all my worldly credibility with my family and my friends, and like losing all my worldly credibility with my clients and future clients. Um, Before that, I was very much into the paranormal, if you will. So, like, long before it was trendy to be into ancient aliens, I was reading Chariots of the Gods by Von Daniget, which is he's on the show all the time. He's the chubby old dude, I think. Buster O2, do I believe we went to the moon? No. I mean, what I believe is kind of irrelevant. You're afraid of falling off the edge of what? $50 if I bottle flip first try? No, dude, I totally suck at bottle flipping, man. I've only ever tried it a couple times and I just gave up because it's so boring. But I mean, it's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. I just suck at it. Um, but honestly, if that was a skill that I had, I'd be like, I would totally show that off. I'll be honest with you, man. Just a guy. Am I a flat earther? Well, I mean, I have measured the earth for curvature. Have you? Just a guy? Yeah. Um, I have measured the earth for curvature. So like standing water, right, is going to be your true level, whether it's earth or a sphere, right? So if you're dealing with large bodies of standing water, um, assuming the Earth's a sphere, then it's going to have a specific degree of curvature in all directions, down and away from you. Now, granted, it's a big sphere, allegedly, so it is a very small amount of curvature, but there is an expected degree of curvature over given distances, right? What does that mean? What does what mean? So, okay. So if the surface of standing water is the true level, what that means is that if it's a sphere, then it's going to be curved. The surface of standing water is going to be curved. And if the Earth is a plane, then the surface of standing water is going to be level. Okay. And what I'm trying to tell you is that myself and many others have measured the Earth for curvature by way of measuring the the surface of standing water for convexity. And the convexity needed to result in an overall sphere that everyone believes in doesn't exist. There is no convexity, right? And it's not just me saying this. And don't believe me, don't believe anyone. You got to go measure the Earth. So what I believe is irrelevant. Okay. You're thinking about moving into your car. Can I give you any tips? Yeah, don't do it. Living in your car sucks. And yeah, I'm about to lose my house, lose my place to live here very soon. It's not for nothing I did wrong, but I just got to go and I don't have anywhere to go. So I may be living in my car. It's not like a decision that I'm going to go make. We'll probably spend every penny we have on a hotel, which will not last us until the beginning of next month, the following month. So it'll usually end up with us, me and my wife and my little dog too, living in the car for the end of the month. I mean, it sucks, but to make a joke of that, that's ha 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 ha, so funny, dude, so funny. Anyway, um, just a guy means okay. So right, so you're arguing that curved is level, right? No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about your theory of gravity curving the sea level to make a sphere over large distances. We're not talking about theories here. What I'm telling you, and that's going to be the end of this conversation here. What I'm telling you is you need to go measure the Earth for curvature before you have anything to add to this conversation. Because at this point, all you could potentially add to this conversation is your programming that we're all very much familiar with. We were all reared on planet Earth just like you. I know how stupid it seems, right? I'm aware, I understand, I get it. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what I believe. It doesn't matter how I've arrived at the conclusions that I've arrived at. It's irrelevant. For all you know, I'm an AI robot, sitting on some fucking server somewhere. For all you know, that's it. Okay. And so, with that being said, the only thing that you can do in this conversation is to prove all things to yourself, with your standard being beyond the shadow of a reasonable doubt. Okay. And my suggestion to you is don't look at the sky, don't look for the answers in books, but just damn it, go measure the Earth for curvature. Okay. And then tell me how curved it is. Okay. But other than that, the reason for this stream is to, at least for today, or at least for this morning, is to get away from that debate for a little while, because frankly, there is no debate. There is nothing to debate. The only thing that's left to do is for about 99% of the world to revisit their long-held belief in a spinning ball Earth. and skeptically, measure the Earth for curvature to see if it even could be a sphere. And then once you've done that, think about think about the fact that unarguably the Earth, the world, is a fixed frame of reference, right? So that's not argued by either side. Okay. And let me get a drink here. Sorry. What I mean by fixed frame of reference is that the world does not exhibit any telltale signatures of acceleration, right? And so if you're honest with yourself and you think back to the time when you were in school, you may have asked your teacher, like, why don't we feel the Earth spinning if we're spinning, 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, faster than the speed of sound here in South Carolina, where I'm sitting now? And the teacher will tell you it's because we can only feel acceleration. And since there is no acceleration, everything's moving at a consistent speed, then we don't pick it up. It's because we're at the same frame of reference with the world, and so we never notice it spinning and orbiting because of that. And the thing is, though, there's certain laws of physics that demand traveling at a consistent speed along a curved path inherently exhibits angular acceleration or centrifugal force. Okay? And when you couple that alleged axial rotation of the world with ludicrous orbital velocities, which are so fast they're not even comprehensible to the human mind. There's no way to even convey these speeds to you, or that it actually makes sense to something that's comparable, right? So like the spin of the Earth is comparable, right? So like 1,000 miles an hour at the equator is like about twice as fast as an average commercial jet flies on average cruising speeds, right? About. Okay. But when you're dealing with the alleged Earth's orbital velocity, you're talking about 18.5 miles per second is what they claim. 18.5 miles per second. Okay. Now, if you multiply that by, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, yeah, 666 miles an hour. It's not me coming up with these numbers. That's their numbers. If you Google the orbital velocity of the Earth, they may have changed it by now, but historically it has been 18.5 miles per second is the agreed upon scientific answer for the Earth's orbital velocity. Okay. And that's just one. Okay. You also have the alleged orbital velocity of the sun going around the galactic center, which is like 480,000 miles an hour, allegedly. Then you also have the galaxy traveling at some millions of miles an hour in another direction. And, all of these different orbital trajectories are allegedly just that, trajectories, right? And also, they are not in any sort of synchronization or like timing scheme, right? They are all sort of random and often in conflict with one another, to the point to where you would have lots of different combinations of orbital trajectories depending on the time of the day, depending on the time of year, depending on the time of eon. Like there would be anything but a lack of acceleration. There would be so much acceleration built into the heliocentric model. It's ridiculous. But again, the Earth is a fixed frame of reference. And frankly, a spinning ball traveling along multiple curvilinear trajectories at the same time cannot behave as a fixed frame of reference. It just cannot be. The only reason that works is because we were all tricked into believing this nonsense when we were little kids. Okay. So what I believe is irrelevant, but I have measured the Earth for curvature and it doesn't exist. Furthermore, the Earth is at rest, which is just a blatant contradiction and a debunk of the heliocentric theory, and this is not something that, I'm saying, but, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, when I took my first flight, I realized that there was a problem with eastbound flights being identical in duration to their return flights. So like from Florida to Texas and then Texas back to Florida, the flight durations were the same. And like I realized that was a problem when I was a little kid. I kind of figured the flight home back to Florida was going to be much longer because I was going to be racing against Florida, but I was shocked to find that they were the same. And so when I arrived in Texas, I told my aunt, hey, Aunt Diana, I think I figured out the Earth isn't spinning, and she shot it down pretty quickly. Told me I didn't understand physics, but the thing is, objects traveling towards one another will meet in the middle. Okay, objects racing against one another will not meet in the middle as such. Okay, so in an analogy, picture yourself standing on the end zone of a football field, and you've got a buddy standing at the other end zone. Y'all are facing each other. Okay? If you start walking towards one another, you're going to meet somewhere around the 50-yard line, right? Agreed. Well, if you do the same experiment or demonstration again, but next time your friend starts running away from the field, like pulls a Forrest Gump and starts running the opposite direction as the field, away from you, away from the 50-yard line, and then you do the same thing that you did the first time, so you start walking towards the 50-yard line. Do you really think that you're going to meet your friend at the 50-yard line in about the same amount of time that you did the first one? Even if you have a great wind at your back and he has a wind that's unfavorable for him? No, absolutely not. And so, the fact that eastbound flights and westbound flights are often identical in duration, and sometimes the eastbound flights are shorter than the westbound flights, which is the opposite of what you would expect if the Earth and all the destinations were constantly racing supersonic-like towards the east. Frankly, the spinning ball Earth, in my opinion, is so absurd. I don't understand how you or anyone else could believe it for so long. I mean, I do get it. I'm sorry, I apologize to sound so pompous. And I'm sure dude's probably left by now. Like, people do not want to hear this shit, so I'm sure dude's left, right? Anyway. Did he leave? Yeah, dude's been gone for like 20 minutes, hasn't he? Yeah, right. Oh, typical, dude. Okay. But man, I got cottonmouth like a monster, dude. Hold on. Hey, babe, can I have the rolling tray, please? Will you hand me the rolling machine, please? Pretty please. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You're good. Thank you. Um, so believe it or not, it's not always so much fun to debate people about this topic, right? Because what happens is they'll make some claim, and then when you show that claim is irrelevant and the burden of proof is on the globe Earth community here to show evidence for geological curvature and show evidence for geological motion of the supersonic and ludicrousonic varieties, just to name a couple of things, the burden of proof is definitely on them. And when you explain that to them and basically show that they use basically every fallacy argument in the book in order to convince themselves that they're right here, it's not that much fun, believe it or not. I mean, I'm sure you can probably imagine scenarios where it wouldn't be like enjoyable to debate flat Earth stuff all the time, right? Maybe it's just because I'm a weirdo. I don't know. But before I was a flurfer, I was a musician. But before I was a musician, even, I was into the paranormal because, I've had experiences throughout my life that I cannot explain. And and I think also as a Christian, if you claim to be a Christian and yet you claim that the paranormal sort of things are hogwash, I think you should really probably check your premises, right? Because in case you missed it, the main character in Christianity, dude named Yeshua, Jesus, was murdered by the synagogue of Satan in the Roman hierarchy. But then he resurrected. The dude came back from the dead, right? And so that's pretty damn paranormal, right? He also did things like exorcise demons, which is pretty cool. And so, like I said, if you're a Christian and you pooey at the, clutch your pearls and pooey at the paranormal stuff, then I don't really know how to rectify that. D-Rec says infrared photography shows hundreds, even thousands of miles of unobstructed views. Yeah, just the guy's been gone for like 20 minutes. I hope nobody did like ban him or anything, did they? Because like he did seem. I mean, like we all know that guy. Like we were all just that guy once too. I think level just means equal to the vector representing the center of the earth. Is what he said. So yes, of course, curve means level. Because when you actually break down the word salad, that sounds beautiful to the layman, right? The word salad definitely does a lot of legwork in the globe earth theory. But when you actually realize that what the dude's saying is curve is level, like all those big words kind of lose their luster, don't they? Hold on, let me light this. I got a cigarette duck. For the record, you guys, I roll my own cigarettes, so I pay less than $10 a carton. Sometimes if I have extra, like I will get a pack, or like if I'm not where I can roll, I will get a pack of cigarettes once in a blue moon. But and then also thanks to Flat Earth Farms in NorCal, I really don't pay for pot because I got a buddy that is a legit grower, and thank God for that, right? And so anyway, Flat Earth Farms, thanks Fire, you will realize the Earth is flat. Buy some for your Globetard friends at select distribution centers in California. California. You got to love Arnold though, bro. Like to actually be the governor of a state that you can't pronounce the damn name. That's pretty good, man. Like dude has got the pizzazz. He's got the pizzazz. Jay Tolan Media just dropped another banger. Okay, I will check that out, man. Would you mind putting the link, direct? Yeah, but so long before I was a flurfer, I was into the paranormal, and I think like the first absolutely jaw-dropping poltergeist experience I had was when I was in Northern Virginia in Shenandoah Valley. I was going to school at Shenandoah University, but in between semesters, they would shut down the campus and shut down the dorms, and so like my whole plan was to just chill at the dorm for that whole. We did trimesters, so it wasn't like summer vacation, but it was in between the trimester vacation. They shut down the dorms for like a month and a half or whatever. Maybe it was a couple of months. I don't remember. However, they do on trimesters. It was a while though. But so I wasn't going to be able to stay on campus, and I had to find a place to live. And so look through the newspaper. Like y'all probably don't know this, the younger people. There used to be this thing called the newspaper where I went to buy one relatively recently, a newspaper here in Greenville. It was like $6.50. And I had specifically bought it looking for classifieds, like to try to find a place to live. No, it wasn't the Sunday paper. It wasn't. It was just like the Little Wednesday or something. It was so little. There was like 2 or 3 sections, but I needed to get the paper to look for a place to live. But also, it's really good for cleaning the inside of your car windshield. I don't know if y'all know this, but life hack. If you smoke in your car, and you get the film on the inside of your windshield, it's hard to clean off. Spray it with Windex, obviously, but if you wipe it with newspaper, it actually works way better than paper towels, and it doesn't leave it doesn't streak nearly as bad. And then maybe you can once over it with a paper towel when you're done. But it does an amazing job. Thanks to old Pop for that. My dad taught me that long time ago. But if you didn't know, and you need to clean that pesky nicotine film off of the inside of your car windshield, try newspaper. Okay. Anyway, pro tip right there, people. How did I get on the tangent of that? Yeah, outside for rain, it helps too. Yeah. Plain Truth or UK says the only thing that's been to space is people's imagination. Yeah. Um, but okay, so anyway, my phone's coming unplugged here. Sorry, hold on. Okay. Oh, I'm coming down with a chest cold again. I'm like getting over a cold, and now I'm getting hit with another bug. Fun. Don't you just love the holidays? Yeah. Yeah, come in.
I'm making coffee. If y'all, can I use a little bit of yours? Because I'm out.
Yeah.
That container's out.
Help yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Uh-huh. Baby, wake up. You're shooting salad, baby. You're shooting salad. Okay. What the fuck was I even talking about, y'all? Okay, so I couldn't stay on the dorms during the during the break, and so I found an ad in the newspaper. Y'all know what a newspaper is now, and a life hack about the newspaper. And so I found a place where there was a couple, not a younger couple. I don't know. They were probably in their 30s. They had a son that was probably 12 or so, and they had a baby that was like a toddler. Okay. And they had a little Pekingese dog that was mean as a rattlesnake. A little Pekingese, meaner than a rattlesnake. Oh, that dog gave me the creeps. I think their names was John and Michelle. So there's always going to be two Johns in a house where there's roommates. You know what I mean? No, I mean not always, but so anyway, this couple had just bought the house, and they were planning on flipping it. So they were going to live in it, fix it up, and then turn around and sell it. And they were going to probably stay there a couple years. And so what I was going to do was rent a room and help them as part of my room and board. And Papu, my grandfather, would pay the difference, right? Because this all sort of snuck up on me. I had been, I was going to school, living on the dorms, and I just assumed that I was going to stay on campus for the vacation, for the break. But then it turned out that I had to find me a place to live like real fast. And so that's what I ended up doing. Like, it was a miracle. I mean, we probably could have done a hotel, but it would have been way too expensive, right? So this house, I've tried to find it online, like the satellites, which I was able to do maybe a decade ago, but now I can't find it. I can't remember the address. It's been a long time. I was attending school in 1999, so I'm showing my age a little bit there. Um, but I can't find it, so it may have been torn down at this point. But anyways, it was a turn of the century, so it was built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, um, colonial style. So it had the very like narrow hallways. Um, there was there was two stories, but there were four levels. So it had a full basement and a full attic. Okay, and then the downstairs, there was a master bedroom suite, kitchen, a couple living rooms, dining rooms, and then upstairs there were five other bedrooms and a full kitchen upstairs. But it was very old, and you could tell it had been like remodeled probably in the 70s. So it had like everything was that puke green, the 70s puke green. I've got such bad cotton mouth. I'm sorry, y'all. When we first got there, the house needed a lot of work, and it definitely needed a lot. Um, but I noticed that, so like in all the bathrooms, there were those hand railings bolted to everything. So like for old people or whatever, like hand railings on the toilets and hand railings in the showers, in all the bathrooms. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, must have been whoever owned this before. Had an old mom or whatever, living with it. So we took all that stuff down and put it in the basement. But in the basement, there was a bunch of other stuff, like a bunch of bedpans, like dozens of bedpans, and like half a dozen of the adjustable like Posturepedic beds. So I actually got one of those because I love those things, and I put that in my room, Posturepedic bed. Now the attic in the place was weird. I've never seen an attic like this, but the only way to get into the attic was through the room that I was renting. And my room was upstairs. So like you come up the stairs and you go right, and then not all the way down to the end, but then on the left was my room. And then in my room, there was the entry to the attic. And the entry to the attic was the weirdest little door. The door gave me the creeps. I don't know why, but it was like half the height as a regular door, right? And so you had to like hunch down to open it, and it didn't have a regular handle. It had like a weird wooden latch, and it was a wooden door with like wooden. It was like wooden planks, like put together as a little half of a height door. So like when you open the door, you got to hunch down to turn the knob and open it, and then you got to hunch down to go through it, and you've got to stay hunched down to get to what is like a thin little set of stairs, right? And once you've taken about 2 or 3 steps hunched down towards the stairs, and then stay hunched down and go up a couple stairs, then you can stand up straight, okay? Because there's like something that you just walked under, and it's cinder blocks. So like once you can stand up straight, if you turn around, you're looking face level at cinder block wall, right? So when you're coming down the stairs, if you're not careful, you'll run smack head first into a brick wall, which happened to our drummer. Oh my God. I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's not funny. Oh my God. Okay, so anyway. So the first thing that happened in this house, man, I had been there maybe a week or two, and like I was not thinking haunted at all. It didn't even occur to me. Like, I mean, I've always kind of been into that sort of thing, but it's like I had good vibes from the place. Like, I was enjoying the house. I loved that Posturepedic bed or whatever it is, because you could adjust it. And like, I've always had lumbar issues. But then like, especially after my motorcycle wreck, it's gotten way worse. But anyway, we were still moving stuff in. In fact, I had just went and got a mini fridge from the college campus that someone was leaving, because everybody was going home for the break. And so I got a mini fridge for like $10 or something. And so I was bringing that up, and my friend was over, had a truck. So my friends were downstairs drinking beers, and I was coming back upstairs to either get something or to drop something in the room or whatever. And so I was upstairs by myself in my room. And everyone was downstairs. And I swear to God, what sounded like an old woman screaming at the top of her lungs, 3 inches from my face, just like right in my face, just like that, for maybe 20 seconds. And I was just frozen shock. Didn't know what that was. And as like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, my mouth must have been agape. And as the scream sort of tailed off, it sounded like an ambulance It kind of sounded like an ambulance going down the road, but there were no flashing lights. I didn't see any flashing lights or anything, and I knew it couldn't have been an ambulance, right? Because ambulances don't scream like old women in front of your face, right? Now, I will say, this is the first time I've ever had anything like that happen, and I've never had anything like that happen since. But I ran downstairs, okay? So like when you see these like ghost hunting videos where people are faking their houses being haunted and like they've got their camera out and they're filming and then like some shit happens and they don't buck out of there fast as they can, they're full of shit. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe you have professional ghost hunters that can stand in the face of that sort of thing and not get spooked. But like for me, when I've had paranormal, poltergeist experiences before, um, never screaming in my face is what I'm saying. That was the most intense uh, paranormal experience I've ever had. So I go downstairs, I ask my friends, damn, I got cottonmouth, yo. Like, did y'all just hear that? I'm like, hear what? And I didn't want to say some old lady screaming in my face. And so I'm like, well, did an ambulance just go by or something? No. Why? And honestly, I can't remember if I don't think I told them. Maybe I did tell them. I don't remember. But after that, I kind of had the suspicion that that house might have been haunted. I don't know where I got that idea, but it was in the back of my mind, right? Um, good morning, Kenny B. What's up, brother? Okay, H2 for life, GOAT. Do like Bart Sabrell did and ask Jaron, Whitsitt, and Elizabeth to swear on a Bible that they in no way deceived the public with the final experiment. Um, yeah, I don't think I need it. First of all, if someone like will spit on a Bible and stomp on a Bible, I don't think them swearing on a Bible is going to do much. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that about any of those people. That's a totally unrelated anecdotal story that I'm not even sure why I brought it up. Um, the Cosmic Lighthouse says, where's the last video in the Creature from Jekyll Island playlist you didn't see, chapter 26? I'm 100% sure they're all on there. So if it's not on the playlist, I may have to go and add it to the playlist, but I'll look into it. I'm sure I recorded and uploaded it. It may just not be on the playlist, but it's definitely there. Um, but I will, when I get off the stream, I'll check. I can't really do it while I'm on the phone, but I will check, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Do I want a brownie recipe? Um, sure. Yeah, because I am a big fan of the edibles, man. I really am. Um, at least at nighttime. It makes you so tired, but like just smoking all the time can be bad for you a little bit. You know what I mean? So the edibles is a good way to go for sure. Love chocolate latte. I'm a chocoholic. Um, YouTube, what's up? The one YouTube that I did not meet in Denver. And you know what, man, I think I remember you telling me that a long time ago that it wasn't you that met me there. I'm sorry, I forgot. But now I'll definitely never forget that it was not you, that you were not the YouTube that I met in Denver. Do you use that hash oil, like the oil syringe, 300 milliliter thing? And how much do you use? That's the question. Because like for me, for the edibles, I'll like just on a single use, I'll use like about a grain of rice size amount, and just maybe put it in the old coffee. Awesome. Awesome. Smiles for everyone. Thank you. Okay. So that was the first paranormal experience I had at that house where the thing screamed in my face. But, after that point, I kind of got the feeling that the house might have been haunted. And so I kind of was a little bit more guarded. And the whole fact that all of the old folks' home type stuff was there, just store that in the back of your mind. Okay. Um, the next time something really creepy happened, I was there by myself. I think it was I think it was like a Friday because I remember I was gonna go out with some friends or something, and so I had to take a shower and get ready or whatever, and there was nobody home. Everybody was gone. John, Michelle, and the kids and the dog was gone. They took the dog with them, and I'm in the shower, whatever, and I hear a woman humming, like right outside the bathroom door. And so I listen. I hear a woman humming for sure. So I turn the water off and listen, and I don't hear it anymore. Wait, fucking nothing. Must be the pipes, right? So I turn the water back on by showering, and I hear a woman humming again. So I turn the water off and start drying off because I'm creeped out at this point. And so the water's all off, and then I hear it again. So I like get dressed, run down the stairs, and I like fuck it, leave. And I forgot half my stuff. I like forgot things I didn't need and stuff, and ended up having to come back later that night. But that was creepy. And so like that's how I do um, when confronted with paranormal, with a poltergeist, right, or like a woman humming. Uh, which whatever. It's so scary. But when you're home alone in a house that you think is maybe haunted, and you hear a woman humming, and it's definitely not the pipes because it even happened after I cut the pipes off. I cut the water off. So lo and behold, if I didn't have company, I wouldn't sleep in that house. I would sleep it had a wraparound porch. So I would get in my sleeping bag if it was nice out, or if it was cold, I would get in my car and turn the heat on and sleep in my car. Um, if I had company, so like was one time I had three friends over and we were all asleep. It was like 3 a.m. Uh, and like something woke me up. There was like a black blob, like parked in the corner of the room, like in the ceiling in the corner, just like if it was just pure hatred, pure like the grudge, right? Um, it's what it was, pure hatred. And like I felt this thing, and it woke me up. It just hated us being there, and I felt it. It was like a palpable hatred, just bad vibes. And I think I had woke up from a nightmare, and I just whispered because I had three friends over. No, we were not hallucinating. No, we had some beers the night before, but no, we were not hallucinating. Um, no, we were dead asleep. Everyone was asleep, dude. And I woke up in the like 3 a.m. There was a black blob in darkness in the corner of the room. Hey, like, dude, it was just a malevolent spirit. I swear to God. And I go like this. I'm like, I whispered, dude, are y'all up? Are y'all up? All three of them motherfuckers said, yeah, they thought it was just them. We all got got in a car and left till the sun come up. Okay, there was something, when you turn the light on, there's nothing there, obviously. Okay. Come to find out, there was other things. No, it was not LSD. Whitney from Southie. No, it wasn't. I swear to God. I believe you have a malevolent spirit in your urethra. Yeah, that's funny. I doubt it. Yeah, oh yeah, you probably do. You probably do. It's a vagina geist. Okay. Um, right. So, you know, for anyone that has not had a legitimate paranormal experience, you know, it's hard to take the claims seriously, especially because there are so many people out there in the internet faking that stuff, right? But you know, the thing is I think there's something to it. Now, about months and months later, maybe a year later, after I had done moved down to that place and everything, come to find out that this dude that was he didn't attend the school, but he lived in town, and his family had lived in Winchester historically, so he was like his people were from there, right? Rob Ketchum was his name, and come to find out, I had been, you know, we'd been hanging out or whatever. Um, his aunt had run the old folks home that was that house for years. It had been historically used as a like a nursing home where, like, you know, rich people dump their unwanted older relatives off at to die, right? And so, like, if you think about it, especially, you know, in the late 1800s, I mean, I guess it would have been the early 1900s, middle of the 1900s, and even up until the 80s, when it was ultimately it was shut down in the 1980s and had been sitting vacant until John and Michelle bought the place, right? Um, but that house had been used as an old folks home. And Rob Ketchum told me that the room that I was living in that had the only entrance to the attic, they would, for the old people that were acting up and were being punished, they would lock them in there in my room, and they would like not feed them dinner. And he said that when he was a kid, his aunt would pay him on the summer vacations to do, you know, like, so his like allowance or chores or whatever was to help his aunt at the old folks home. And he said that the ones that were crazy and always acting up, they would lock them in my bedroom, and you could hear them pounding on the floors, screaming that they wanted food. Okay. And I didn't know that tidbit until later. So that kind of added up, and it put the context on why all the, you know, the bedpans in the basement and all this stuff. Um, you know, frankly, like when people say things like LSD and make poke fun or you're just crazy, you were hallucinating, you know, I get it because most people have not legitimately had experiences like this. But here's the other thing. I know the difference between hallucinations and reality, right? I guess most people probably don't. I'm not saying it's a superpower, but I used to sell acid when I was younger. Okay. So, like, I don't know how that qualifies me for anything, but I do know the difference between, you know, hallucinations and reality. Okay. Richie, GLM, what does that mean? Gay lives matter? Sorry. Okay. Hold on. And yeah, there were other things that occurred at that house that you know, just spooked the shit out of me, man. And you know, anyone that hasn't experienced a poltergeist, I do not recommend playing with Ouija boards because done under the right sort of conditions, they can open up portals that you don't want to be opening. Okay. And yeah, it's just plastic, and you know, it's a Parker Brothers toy. So it's not the toy that's opening the portal, it's the user, you know. So you got to be careful with that sort of thing because, you know, we are plainly warned to not commune with the dead. Okay. So I would not suggest dabbling in that sort of thing. And there is, in my opinion, there is definitely something to it. Okay. And anyone that wants to scoff at that, you know, hopefully you're not a Christian because, again, you might want to rethink your premises. But you know, anybody that doesn't know the difference between a hallucination and reality, um, you know, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I guess I could see how that could be. under certain circumstances. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, ghost lives matter. Okay, got you, man. Okay. Uh, another one, man. Another one. So years ago, my wife and I were living. We were in Fayetteville. Come in. Yeah, come in.
Y'all's coffee's ready.
Okay, thank you.
Can I use your rubber machine?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's right. It's right there.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'll put it back right there.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Uh-huh. No problem.
Man, I keep getting to that.
Okay. Oh, hey, Jill. When you come back, did you mind throwing me a pinch of tobacco? Yours, I'm out. Well, when you come back, because I don't have a roller no way. So, okay, thank you. Um, so we were in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we were rooming with Mina's daughter. And her daughter's grown; she's got a family and everything. Um, Mina and I had been arguing, and by arguing I mean she's screaming at me as I tried to ignore her, right? And it got kind of bad. It got pretty bad, and so I went and got a hotel because I had to work the next day, and stayed the night at the hotel. Got up early, went to work, worked normal all day. Came home from work, and I was tired. Went to sleep. I get woke up. Mina is beating me with the PlayStation 2, and she threw it at me. And when she threw it at me, she cut her hand wide open on the thing. It's backstory for you got to hear. You know the story. You were there. Mina's getting mad at me because like, why are you telling this? It's for the context of the story. It's like nothing bad. Like
Who are you
here,
talking to?
I'm live streaming to the whole entire internet. I'm. If looks could kill. Okay. So so she sliced her hand wide open on the PlayStation 2, throwing it at me. And she was bleeding everywhere. And so she ran downstairs and started pounding on the next door neighbor's door, getting blood everywhere all the while. And so the next door neighbor called the police. The police came, put me directly in handcuffs. And as they were getting ready to cart me off to jail, Mina's daughter, um, luckily saw the whole thing and said, why are you taking him to jail? He was literally just sleeping. He didn't do anything. She hit him with the PlayStation and cut her hand. She told the truth as to what happened. I was literally asleep, but I went to jail for criminal domestic violence. And so did she. So did Mina. They took us both. And in North Carolina, at least at the time, there's a minimum 72-hour hold for CDV. So you have to sit in county jail for 3 straight fucking days. Which, I understand why. Okay, there's legitimate reasons why, because domestic violence is a real problem in a lot of households, and women do get hurt and killed in the heat of the moment of things. And so I understand why there's the 72-hour minimum hold on CDV. At least there was then in North Carolina. But, if we didn't have a roommate situation and let's say we had pets, oh my God, dude, like what would happen to your pets? Like that is so scary. Like, and like, what if you're, I don't know. I mean, that is a bad thing. So when we got out of jail, she got out first. We got out at the same time, I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, we were released at the same time. I don't remember how the hell we got home. I think we somehow had our car. Yeah, still a 72-hour hold in North Carolina. Yeah. So anyway, when we got home, her daughter And the kids, so her daughter had kids, they were young at the time, uh, weren't home. There was nobody home. And it was so eerie, like one of those liminal spaces eeriness, because usually there was always be people home. I mean, you're talking about a house full of 7 people, right? Including me and her, a house full of 7 people, there's always life about, right? So we get home and there's nobody home, and it was really weird and awkward and just a weird air about. And there was still blood all up and down the railing and on the carpet where she had sliced her hand open on the fucking PlayStation 2 where she had thrown it at me. And it was just weird. And so we're winding down, we're coming in, and like we're in the bedroom sitting down, and we hear something in the next room. It was like a bang and then talking, like a kid, like a kid talking. It was like boom. That's all we heard was like muffled from the next door, and next door was the baby's room. And I'm like, damn, the baby's home, but nobody else is home. That's fucking weird. So I go in the next door room, and there's nobody in there. Nobody's home. Like I thought, I'm like, that is so weird. And me and her are talking how weird that is. And then there's another bigger crash, and I tell you, every single electric toy in that baby's closet went off. Blah, 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 blah. I want to be your friend. I'm like, bah, 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 bah. There must have been a fucking dozen toys in that closet, all fell to the floor and started going off, dude. And I am stunned. Like, my fucking jaw dropped. I'm looking at Mina, and she's like, looking at me like, what the fuck? And like chills just go all up my body, and I am freaking out, and like I am froze. And we fucking ran downstairs and outside. We were laughing. What the hell was that? And so I swear to God, I go upstairs reciting the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That, the whole thing. And it stopped. But like as it stopped, that final toy was going, I wanna be your I swear to God. I know this sounds, and like you'll see this scene play out in movies, dude. But I swear to you, this happened. And Mina was there, she'll attest to it too. Absolutely crazy, dude. So, with that being said, in my opinion, the paranormal has something to it. But I think that we have stigmatized it. We have pigeonholed our brightest minds into things like CERN and into things like NASA and the infinite space nonsense. And I think, I'm not saying that I think we're going to find keys to the universe in studying poltergeists, but I think that if we were to exert a fraction of the budget and energy that we do in the likes of NASA and CERN towards actual science, towards actually studying even that sort of thing, or like the UFO, UAP phenomenon, um, it certainly couldn't hurt, blowing $20 billion in taxpayer money every year on faking space and lining the pockets of some Illuminati assholes so that they can continue their nefarious ends isn't exactly money well spent. And to call that science, yeah. So Richie says, sounds like the scene from Close Encounter of the Third Kind. Yeah, I know, man. I don't know what that was. And so like that house in Fayetteville, her daughter, I think, mentioned later on, years later, that she maybe thought that house had something freaky deaky going on in it. But as far as I remembered, I never got any sort of inkling that we were living in a damn haunted house. So I don't think that's what it was. But something definitely happened. Like it wasn't in my imagination. I didn't hallucinate it. Mina was there too, and like this was something that definitely happened, and it was not normal. So it was by definition paranormal, right? Richie says they probably do investigate real things. We just don't hear about it. Well, sure, I bet you they do, right? Granted, agreed. But what I mean is the sort of overt, um, big budget studies that, because here's another thing. I'm a firm believer in, so like the human race collectively is like a supercomputer, right, in a way, and we have the capacity to manifest things in reality, right? And so if enough people believe something, or like better stated, if enough people have faith and a common goal, we can actually manifest things without any sort of nuts and bolts cogent explanation as to how they came into being. I mean, sure, if you study it, there will and eventually be a logical explanation for anything, but who's to say that if we hadn't manifested it, that ever would have happened, right? So, I mean, I do kind of believe that there is something to that. And, whether that dovetails into the conversation of the Mandela effect, you be the judge of that. Um, but I do think I am a firm believer in the power of faith, especially collectively, and that's why it is such a travesty when you see things like faith misplaced, right? And so when Yeshua said the analogy about tying a millstone to your neck and casting yourself into the sea, it would be better that you do that than to deceive a child, right? Because in deceiving a child, um, there is something almost permanent to that, because we, as children during our formative years, we tend to really hang on to our belief systems, whether or not they have been arrived at logically or correctly, right? So, like when you're a little kid, it breaks your heart when your parents tell you that Santa isn't real, right? It breaks your heart that they lied to you. It breaks your heart that that magic was just a lie. Um, but it's necessary, right? It's necessary to do that young. I mean, could you imagine if they just never told anybody that Santa wasn't real? Thank you, dear. I appreciate you.
He is real. He just shut up.
Oh, shut up. um, but uh, but yeah, man, like I don't know. It's such a travesty when when the innocence of childhood is sort of hijacked by those sorts of lies. And by the way, for the record, the spinning ball Earth is just another one of those lies, akin to Santa Claus. And if you haven't watched a recent video I put out, debating Santa Globe, um, definitely check it out. I think it's one that I'm very much proud of, and not a lot of people have seen it. But sort of the overarching point of that video, debating the Santa Globe, is that, well, definitely watch it. But so when they break our hearts by telling us that Santa and the Tooth Fairy aren't real, there's sort of like this gaping hole in our soul, right? And the sort of deception right next door to Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny is the spinning ball Earth, in my opinion. It acts upon many of the similar neural pathways as Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, because it is at face value wholly unbelievable and illogical. And you have to sort of force little kids into believing in the spinning ball Earth under duress. Okay. And so while we carry that belief with us very fervently and heartfeltedly, if that's a word, as we grow up and mature, it is very difficult for people to let go of the toy globe, because it is one of those core beliefs. And one fundamental sort of failsafe of our psyches is that you can't just go around changing your core beliefs all willy-nilly. It's sort of a failsafe. And so while that is a remarkable and admirable trait of the human condition, right, At the same time, it is something that they have hijacked and taken advantage of. They've manipulated our core belief system since we were just little kids, and they did it so perfectly. And they've got just the right amount and just the right flavor of maintenance deception along the way as you graduate into higher education. And then when you get into topics like CERN, and let's say you're a card carrying bona fide scientist working at CERN making $500,000 a year, let's not mention that you've never actually participated in the scientific method ever. You know, you've never formulated a hypothesis, you've never done a physical experiment, but you are a card carrying bona fide, very well paid scientist working for CERN. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's all nonsense. It is just little blips on a chart that are there to pigeonhole our brightest minds into basically the garden path to nowhere. It's crazy town. And anyone who thinks that you can, you know, accelerate subatomic particles close to the speed of light, you know, first of all, what exactly is a subatomic particle? You know, an atom is the building blocks of matter, right? But the building blocks of atoms are neurons, you know, I'm sorry, neutrons, electrons, and protons, right? So really, the building blocks of matter isn't atoms, it's those subatomic particles, right? By the way, atoms have never been imaged. They are theoretical. They never will be imaged. They're just too small, right? And so subatomic particles are even smaller still, right? And so anybody that thinks that they are accelerating subatomic particles around a racetrack, I got a fucking bridge I'd love to sell you, dude. That's all I'm saying about that. Darren H says, because you as a dropout. No, I didn't drop out. I got my high school diploma and I went to college. So you know, as if that proves anything anyway. I mean, even if I was a dropout, what does that prove? I just don't understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Would you care to enlighten me? So you have some insight onto what's going on in CERN in the particle accelerator, the Large Hadron Collider. So do grace us with your brilliant knowledge about the Large Hadron Collider. I'd love to hear it. Let's hear it. I'll tell you what, maybe you should make a video about it because I was about to wrap this up, but just claiming that I don't know what I'm talking about doesn't score any points in this conversation. Not anymore. You know, yeah, don't get baited by nonsense. You can literally see images of atoms right now. Oh, really? Yeah, okay. You might want to double check that. I didn't make a point to begin with. Nothing to refute. CERN is pseudoscience. Okay, there is no such thing as atoms. That is theoretical. That is married to the spinning ball Earth theory. Okay, without Earth curvature, you basically can follow the chain of logic to there is no such thing as fucking atoms either. Honestly, this is high school stuff. Yeah. I mean, fine. You know, you can believe whatever you want to believe, dude. But what I'm here to tell you is you have been fooled about the very ground which you walk upon. So, I mean, please go measure the Earth for curvature. You know, go try to figure out if we're spinning around faster than the speed of sound. But if you try to tell me we have pictures of atoms, I disagree. Those are CGI. It's nonsense. It's bullshit. You keep saying that I didn't go to school, but I'm telling you, I've got my high school diploma and I went to college. So let me guess, you're projecting? You dropped out? Oh my God. So Darren dropped out of school is what actually happened. That is so crazy. You have literally seen atoms in proof with your own eyes. That's so funny. Okay, Darren, quit projecting. You've never seen atoms. That is nonsense, mate. Nonsense. And if I could, and you could too if I went to college for science. Okay. Yeah, where can we see these atoms? Where's your proof? Look, Darren, I'm not here to argue with you, man, but bro, you know the little lump in your throat? That's your nose, dude. Yeah, what's your degree in? Exactly. Go to literally any large university. Okay. So, Darren, let me ask you, did you drop out of high school and that's why you're calling me a dropout? And be honest, is that the truth? Okay. Well, Darren, I'm not your enemy. Go try to find Earth curve. Um, go try to figure out if you're spinning faster than the speed of sound along the equator. You're not, dude. You have a master's. Okay. Okay. See, the thing is people with master's degrees don't go around picking on people that they think are dropouts. You're a liar, dude. You're a liar. You're full of it. Anyway, one love, you guys. I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks so much for joining me. I just wanted to get this on the record because, God, sometimes you just got to get away from the flat Earth debate. And definitely, if y'all are into that sort of thing, check out Nathan Oakley, 1980. He is way more equipped to debate the guys like Darren than I am. He won't be nearly as nice to you as I am, though, bro. I'm just warning you. You should definitely go holler at Nathan Oakley. The Earth has never moved a single yard. Oh, thank you, Outback Bear. One love, man. Appreciate you, bro. Mike Green, hate deceivers like that, no receipts. Yeah. No, seriously though, somebody that has a master's degree in anything does not go picking on people and calling them dropouts, especially after they tell them that they fucking graduated high school and went to college. Okay. So, whatever. I know. One love, you guys. Y'all be good. And and thanks so much to Outback Bear for the super chat. So here's the thing, y'all, with super chats, and I do appreciate them, and I will love you forever for that. First of all, it takes at least 2 months for me to actually receive the super chats, at least. So let's say hypothetically, you super chat $10 right now. The earliest I will possibly get it is on the 21st of next month. Okay, but that's only if I hit $100 threshold with my AdSense earnings and all super chats combined. Okay. If it doesn't hit that $100 threshold, then it rolls over to the next month, and then you'll get it whenever you hit that $100 threshold on the 21st of the month. So it won't just happen whenever you hit the threshold. It'll only happen on the 21st of the month when you hit the threshold. Okay. But then also, YouTube takes 30% of your contribution, a third. So if you send $10, I get to keep $7, which whatever, that's fine. It's the cost of doing business. But if you would like to help the channel and help me get something to eat, because I'm literally starving until the first when I get paid. I do have some Cheez-Ix. But if you would like to help the channel and to the point where I'll have it instantly, there's PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. And then I have a recurring contribution set up through Patreon for if you want to do it every month. For as little as $1 a month, you just go on Patreon and do it that way. I hardly have any Patreon supporters anymore. Everybody has fallen off. I don't know what I did to piss everyone off, but I did. And so we could definitely use your support. We got hit very hard by Hurricane Helene at the end of September, and it knocked us out of power, water, and internet for about 6 weeks on all three things. So we have a well and pump went out. We were without water for longer than we were without power by about 2 weeks, and internet too. But so anyway, I lost all my work from home clients. Because I didn't have internet for so long, I wasn't able to bid on clients leading up to this holiday season. And I have since put in a bunch of bids, but I have not gotten any more contracts since. And during all this thing with the Hurricane Helene, my car broke down. So I don't have transportation. I'm stuck. And on top of all that, I am subletting from my roommate. So they don't own this place. And the homeowner wants me and my wife gone like yesterday. So they're not going to run us off, but I'm also not going to drag them through court on this. They're my friends, and I'm not going to do them like that. So I've got to find a place to live as soon as possible. I've got to get my car back. I've got to find work, which I do work from home, but New Year's week is not a good time to try to pick up new contracts, but I'm still trying. If you want to support, PayPal, Patreon, Venmo, Cash App, the links are below in the description. The keyword on all those is TheMorgile. On Cash App, it's case sensitive. The T is capital and the M is capital. So it's, Cash App, $, capital THE, capital MORGILE, right? If I'm saying that right. Just look at the links in the description. And Darren H., man, I know if you're a normal person and you're not a troll, and I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, I mean, we get it, man. We've all been there. We were all raised on planet Earth. We were all raised to believe that anyone who even questions the spinning globe Earth is stupid. But if you personally just take the time to revisit your unshakable belief in the spinning ball Earth, and quit trying to debunk flat Earth just yet, because frankly, there's no possible way that you even understand what we're saying about flat Earth. You're just reacting on emotions, okay? So stop trying to debunk flat Earth for a moment. You should really do the scientific thing and try to debunk your existing belief in the spinning ball Earth, okay? And be diligent about it. Like, really go at it. And I can assure you that not only will you hit pay dirt very quickly, but you will also remember things that didn't really add up to you when you were growing up. Like, the fact that the constellations have never changed over all of recorded history. And yet we're supposedly having... Okay. So Darren H. is actually Barbnick. Okay. Barbnick, just go. I know who you are. You're a shill. You're a troll. And you are brainwashed, dude. Trust me. Barbnick, you are brainwashed. Yeah, Darren, take a deep breath. Constellations have changed. Yeah, he's so... Yeah, that's Barbnick, dude. Barbnick, dude, go away, bro. Darren says his name is Darren, and he's from Canada, and he's a scientist. Dude, that's the funniest nonsense I've ever heard, Barbnick. I love you guys. Y'all be good. Even you too, Barbnick. Y'all take it easy, man. One love.